What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is how I see the USA as a European after 6 months. So I'm guessing that's 6 months of living in the US.
I'm guessing she's moved to the US, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we've done a few videos like this. We've done like Sean's videos like that, haven't we? Like this, obviously Lost in the Ponds videos. So it's a different perspective. 6 months living, so not too much time.
No.
But quite a bit to grasp, I guess.
Yeah, to notice the differences, I guess.
To notice the differences, but then I suppose after a year and onwards, then you know if you're used to them or not and stuff like that and more. Smash that like button, guys. Smash that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. We're actually pre-recording this for when we're away, so this will probably be going out in over a week's time, won't it?
Yeah, this may even be out when we get back.
Potentially. We can't guarantee that because we don't know if we'll get other videos done. But my point is, we may have a lot more subscribers.
I might be 24 by the time this goes out.
Billy will definitely be 24 by the time this goes out. I mean, my phone
I'll
is
definitely
like, yeah, it will definitely be out after the Saturday. So happy birthday to Millie in the comments. It was on the 8th of April, wasn't it?
We'll already know, we might know what the baby is.
We might know what the baby gender is as well. Smash that subscribe button, more importantly, as well. Try and get 160,000. That would be mental if we could. I highly doubt it. But you know what? As road to 160,000.
Imagine if we get 160 before we get back.
I highly doubt that. I think that'd be impossible.
We need 4,000.
4,000. We'll need 6,000. 5,500. So smash that subscribe button, you never know. If you guys smash it, we'll get closer. Anyway, let's check out how I see USA as a European. What we got.
I feel like I need to preface all of this by just saying that this is not
American.
a political video at all. It's just my impressions, my views, my opinions. Nothing too serious. Best drivers and worst all-way crossroads. I am not surprised that a lot of people don't have passports in the US. I literally got kicked out of a Starbucks. Would I ever live in the United States?
Right.
All right, let's go.
The accent is she's obviously European, but she's been there 6 months, so she's picking it up.
Picking up a little bit.
Because
There's
I'm
a
like,
mixture.
I'm so confused.
So I'm Ava, and I'm a travel YouTuber, as many of you might know. I've traveled to, I don't know how many because I don't really count, but 70 plus countries. And I am as European as it gets, in the sense that I was born in Poland, I grew up in England, but I lived in a whole bunch of different European countries. Italy, Germany, Belgium, Poland, England.
Makes sense.
Recently, I wrapped up a 6-month trip of the United States where I traveled all across the country.
Maybe
you know, the United States is such an interesting place. Some people love it, some people hate it. So in this video, I want to give you a little bit of a dose of how a European might perceive the US. First of all, cultural shocks. So you see, you know, back home in Europe, we are all brought up with, you know, Americanized culture of some kind. But it's only when you get to the United States that you realize how different some things are. So for starters, everybody smiles at you in the US, and people give you random compliments on the street. Like, I'll be walking down the street and someone will just like shout out from the other side of the street, like, nice tattoo, man, or like, I love your hair, or like, I love your necklace. People are so nice. I love that about the US. Another cultural
yeah, we didn't have that, but I suppose we were in New York, weren't we? Yeah, maybe we'll. That's brutal. No, I feel like maybe that's just the outgoing way of Americans.
I feel like New York City is a complete different vibe.
And it's full of tourists as well, where we were and stuff like that.
It's a completely different vibe.
Definitely, but let us know if you experience that, because that's pretty awesome, isn't it? I like the positivity.
Although, people talking to me all the time, I'm not sure I can handle that.
I like it. I'm like, yeah, you too, man. I mean, carry on, you know what I mean?
No, I've got my earphones in. I get social anxiety talking to people.
All that I experienced are the cars. All the infrastructure is centered around cars. So, you know, in Europe, it would be really easy to like take a bus or a train somewhere. In the US, it's like, you got a pickup truck or you have nothing at all. You take your pickup truck, even though you're not hauling anything, most likely in your pickup truck, and like you go to a drive-through a restaurant, drive-through cafe, drive-through shop, drive-through ATM. I swear there's probably not a single
drive-through ATM.
That's such a good idea.
That is the first I've heard of. That is a great idea.
Drive-through ATM in all of Europe. The point is, it is a very car-centric culture. So without a car, it's kind of hard to get around, which is a major inconvenience if you don't drive. Also, I feel like in some of the places that I've been to in the United States, the concept of a pedestrian doesn't really exist.
What?
Because there's like no sidewalks, pavements. I don't know what you call them in the States. Pavements or sidewalks? I'm not sure what they are. Anyway, it's like they are the least important thing on the road, which is kind of sad because, you know, I like walking. Another cultural shock that I encountered was whenever I went to restaurants. What is up with the waiter just literally taking your card and then taking it somewhere? I don't know where they took it. Are they like taking it to steal my data?
Wait,
Are
what?
they like, where did they take my card? You know, in Europe, every single time the waiter would come over
Sometimes
with
they
a
do take
little
your card.
card reader
Depends.
machine, and you would like put in your
Oh, do they?
I've had that a couple of times. Occasionally, they do. Sometimes they do take your card.
Oh, what? I mean, they do the contactless themselves.
Yeah,
do
when
they?
I went
Or-
out for dinner with my friends the other day,
Yeah.
they took our cards to the till.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I
I
never
think
seen
it
that.
depends on.
Because I thought the whole point was they punch it in, and then you
Yeah.
can check that they're not suddenly charging you £5,000 for a £5 meal, you know, or £50 meal. You know what I mean? But there you
No,
go.
but I think it's trust, isn't it?
Yeah, trust definitely.
your PIN, you know, right there at your table. In the United States, they take your card away from you. And then there's the tipping culture. In the United States, you know,
Big
you
in
go to get a
America.
coffee, it costs like $4, $5, whatever. And then you're taking it away, but you're still expected to give a tip. And it's not just any tip, it's like 20%. 25%. Those are like the little options that they give you on the little iPad.
Strange
you know, and
for
if you
coffee
tap like
calls, isn't it,
10%
that?
or 15%, that means you're cheap. And that just makes you feel really terrible, like an awful human being. So you end up tipping 25%. We don't have that in Europe. In some countries in Europe, you don't even tip because I guess waiters are paid an appropriate living wage.
I feel like it's
So they don't
coming in
actually
a bit
need to
more,
rely
isn't
on
it?
tips.
Like, not the expectation of tipping, but the idea of tipping. So like some places now in, I don't know if it's the same in England, but in Jersey, they'll kind of add a service charge.
Yeah,
It's
restaurants.
coming in, but it's not like you're not expected to tip.
No, and I feel like restaurants and stuff like that, it kind of not expected, but it is something
But
to
it's
do,
something
and
you
it's
do.
coming in. But coffee shops, not never seen that in
in
my
coffee
life.
shop. They do have like a little, so like they do have in coffee shops like a little jar, and you can put like
Put a
gift
pound
change
in or something like that. Yeah.
But definitely in restaurants, that's definitely a thing now.
Yeah, restaurants is. I think that's a standard thing in the UK. But in terms of bars, no.
Bars, no.
Like little fast food places, no.
No.
Coffee shops, no.
No.
So that is very strange.
Imagine
to
tipping
me.
in McDonald's.
I know it. 99p burger.
McDonald's actually
£71.70.
in the UK, you get paid quite a bit for working at McDonald's.
Unlike in the US. In some countries in Europe, you do tip a little bit, like 10% maybe, if the service is really excellent, but in a lot of places, you just wouldn't. So that was a really interesting difference. Not only are the prices in the United States generally higher, but you also have to add that extra for tipping. Also, sales tax. Like, again,
Yeah,
you go to a
we covered
supermarket,
this a lot.
it says
You
one
just-
price, but you end up paying something completely different. What's up with that? And then there's like a couple of really small things that at first you don't even notice until you get it really wrong, and then you
Okay.
learn very quickly. So date formats. In the States,
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
put
confusing.
the month ahead of the day.
It's only
How does
confusing
that
once
make
you get
any
past
sense?
before the 12th month.
Yeah, after 12, you
It's
can
easy
work it out.
because
But
it's. Well, I actually took me a while. One time I was stupid. I was like, "Where's the 22nd month? What is that month?"
Surely you should go from like smallest to biggest, right? Day, month, year. In the US, it's month, day, year.
They do say it like that though as
I'm
well.
sorry.
They do. They say
It's
like
just
April
simply
1st,
wrong.
don't they?
And Fahrenheit. Don't even get me started on Fahrenheit, on pounds, on feet, and inches. Okay, I grew up in the UK, so I am familiar with some of those units, but Fahrenheit, just so confusing. So, like, 0 is the point just before freezing. So anything below 0 that is freezing should just be minus, right? But in Fahrenheit, somehow it's like 20 Fahrenheit is freezing.
It's just
I
different
don't even
measurement,
know.
isn't it?
Spent
It's
6 months
different.
there, did not learn a thing. All right, let's move on to some of the differences between the United States and Europe. So I drove all across the United States, right? Like kind of twice, like all the way from Texas to Alaska and then all the
Oh,
way from
wow.
Alaska to Southern California. And one thing that really struck me is the driving. So first of all, in the US, it's pretty common not to know how to drive, you know, stick shift, like manual.
Yeah, you're
In Europe,
automatic,
that's
aren't they?
basically how you learn. Everybody drives manual, and people do have automatic transmission cars, but like you can drive both, right? Whereas in the States,
I did hear
it's
the.
mostly
we paused a lot, so we'll try not to pause as much. But I did hear having a stick shift or gears, what we say in the UK, is basically like an anti-theft proof in the US because nobody knows how to drive them, so no one steals like
Yeah.
geared cars.
Most people take their test in manual here.
Yeah, it's all
But-
manual.
and then you can drive an automatic. But if you take your test in automatic, you're not allowed to drive a manual.
Yeah, so it makes sense to do it in gear.
Which you may as well.
automatic transmission, which is kind of funny to me. So
I was so scared about
I felt
the
like
automatic,
people gave
wasn't
me
it?
extra props for like being able to drive manual, whereas I'm just like, well, it's nothing special. Everybody does it back home, you know? Then there's the road rules. Things that I just didn't know before coming to the United States. For example, in the US, even when the traffic lights are red, you can still make a right turn, right? In Europe, that is not the case at all. If the light is red, it is red for a reason. You have to stay there. Stop. Unless there's a little like green arrow like pointing to the right.
That's what we have.
Otherwise, you're standing there and waiting until it turns green. I can't tell you how many cars have like literally just sat there behind me waiting for me to make a right turn before I realized that I was actually allowed to do it. But
I'd
they'll
do
just,
the same.
you know,
Just
sit there
like
and like honk at me, and I'll be like, what's your problem? It's red. And then my favorite thing about driving in the United States, all-way crossroads. You know the crossroads with like the like red stop sign and then that says like 4-way or all-way? I still don't know what the difference is, but what it is, and this is mind-blowing, you drive up to this crossroad and then the first person that got to the crossroad has priority.
So it's like a fill and
So there's 4
turn,
directions,
roundabout
right?
kind
And
of
then there's
thing.
4 people.
Okay, so it's just whoever gets there first gets to go.
Yes, just like the round. It's like a roundabout. Whoever gets the roundabout first gets to go, but then everyone else has to follow. Then giving way to the.
That makes
Right.
sense. That makes sense. By the way, her accent's gone really British again. They're actually really British.
Yeah,
in
but
the
then
last
when she
couple.
says certain words, it goes American. Like when she said red.
You can tell she's travelled a lot, can't she? Because it just goes all over the place. But
She was Australian once. She's not been to Australia, so I'm not sure where she put that from.
it makes sense. So you get to sort of like whoever's first goes, and then like
Well, yeah, because you're not going to just wait for someone else to come, are you? Sorry, but it's their right of way. I'll wait for them to come first.
exactly. You got to have a system of picking, haven't you? So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Competing for priority. So you gotta sit there in your car while driving and like calculate, okay, that guy was first, that woman was second, then that
it's just
guy,
order
and then
number.
I'm fourth.
Oh.
And then there's more cars coming. So it's super confusing. Like it's like a big mental workout. I am not kidding you. I used to find this so confusing. And like I just didn't even know that was the rule. So it took me a little while to kind of figure that out. With the help of a friend, I would just like literally stand there and like wait for people to go because I had no idea what the hell was going on there. In Europe, the person that's on the right always has priority.
Yep.
That's it. So you don't really have to think about it very much. Another big difference
Look,
between
you
Europe
are-
and the
no,
United
I can
States
go.
is the sheer distance of
Unless you're in
everything.
France.
So back home, you know, you'd like drive to the next city and you'd be like, yeah, you know, I'm like 3 hours away, you know, I'm like 200 kilometers away, or whatever. In the US, like people don't even talk about driving in terms of hours. They're like, yeah, it's a 2-day drive. A 2-day drive?
It's mad, isn't it?
Like in Europe, that is literally like the other end of the continent.
I feel like
In the US, you're just like driving.
she's saying Europe, but a lot of this is just replying to the UK.
Definitely.
She's definitely, like, when she said then that in Europe, you always give way to the right. Only in England do you do that, because everyone else drives on the other side of the road.
True. But
So-
I'm guessing in like France, right, it's the same applies, but because you drive on the left, you give way to the left side.
Yeah, so she's just kind of applying the rule to...
No, I did think about
Slightly
when you
different,
said that.
because I was thinking in my head, then I was thinking, actually it's not just France, because England is the only, like, the UK is the only country that drives on the right.
Yeah, a lot of people drive on the other
So
side, don't they?
that's not, yeah, that
But
is-
I wouldn't know this, but I am guessing it's the same principle. If you drive on the
you
left,
give way to whoever's...
whatever side you
It
drive
is.
on, yeah.
It's just, but if you came from America and thought they all give way to the right, you're gonna have some crashes.
Oh shoot, he came from my left.
You said you will drive on the right.
driving from one state to the next. It's pretty radical. And also, Texas is huge. It's like never ending. Texas
She's never driven up from
ends.
Portsmouth to Rotherham.
Never.
2 hours.
Jesus.
My leg is asleep. Moving on to some of the expectations versus reality. Oh yes, hello little boy. So naturally, before coming to the US, before doing this massive road trips, I had some expectations built up about the United States. Now, mind you, this wasn't my first time in the US. I had already been to like San Francisco, LA, New York City, Miami, you know, but this is the first time that I actually drove across the country rather than just staying in cities. So yeah, I definitely came with some expectations. So let's see how they matched up to the actual reality. Okay, first of all, I really thought that I would see guns absolutely everywhere. Honestly, like to be completely honest with you, I expected that every Walmart would sell guns. That was
Okay.
literally the idea that I had in my head, that every single Walmart in the United States had a gun section. That is not true.
Well, there's all kinds of sections here at this Walmart beyond the groceries. There's one thing that I do not see is guns.
It took me like 5 Walmarts before I actually got to the one that did have a gun section, which was really interesting. Like in Europe, you just do not see guns.
Yeah, you don't see them
ever.
all, do you?
But in the US, they are relatively common. You do see in some states, obviously like states that are like open carry states, you see people with actual guns, like right here, which is interesting because that was an experience I never had before. But I definitely expected to see more guns than I did in reality. Now, this is not a video about gun problems and gun laws and things like that. I'm sure we all have our opinions. The fact is that I just expected to see many more gun shops everywhere that I went, and I did.
Yeah,
One
I
thing
think
that
I'd assume there's quite a few, just from what we've heard and stuff like that.
I don't know if they're so obvious.
I don't think carrying about, because I don't think people carrying
I
about
would
would
not.
always
I
make
would not
them so
expect
obvious.
to walk in America and expect to see people carrying them.
I mean, some people do.
But like on show, I wouldn't
I think some
expect.
people definitely do.
No, but like I wouldn't. No, but I wouldn't expect to see that.
Yeah, no, I
Like
completely
you'd
agree.
maybe see one person on your journey the whole time. You're
Yes,
there.
and
I wouldn't expect to walk down the street and see everybody with them in their pockets.
yeah, not that common. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think gun shops I expected quite a lot though. But again, I suppose it just depends where you are, stuff like that. If you're walking down a high street, there might always be one. But if you're walking in the middle of Texas, there might not be. You know what I mean? No, I agree with you on that one.
kind of worried about. I expected everybody to always talk politics. Because again, you know, politics is
That is
such
made
a
out to
big,
be a big
contentious,
thing, isn't it?
polarizing subject,
Yeah.
not just in the US right now, but all around the world. So I was really worried that I would come to the US and I would have to have political conversations with people. And that fortunately didn't happen. I mean, the funny thing is that if you're from the States, the way that you have a conversation is telling of your political stance.
Makes
the
sense.
way that you joke about gun laws, or even just like looking at fences, you know, with like Trump 2024 or Biden something. There is so much politics all around the US, and like I think in the like psyche as well, in the American psyche. But luckily, I think as a foreigner, you get the privilege of not having to talk about politics. And I feel like people do see you as a bit of an alien in some way, that they just kind of spare you the political discourse, which is great.
Yeah, I feel like if
I'm
you're going on
honestly
holiday,
not-
I wouldn't expect people to talk to me. That wouldn't be something I think I'm going to talk about.
Definitely, and I feel like you have a choice. If someone,
Well, you can just not talk about
yeah,
it.
if someone
You
comes
don't
up
want
to you
to-
and starts talking about politics, you go, I don't have an opinion, to be honest.
Well, and
Let's
especially
talk about
like,
football.
I feel like if we're not from that country, then not that we don't have a right to talk about it, but kind of what is the point in bringing it up?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No,
Like,
it doesn't affect us.
no, I agree.
I
Yeah,
just
definitely.
wouldn't think. If you like moved there, then maybe they'd say, "Oh, what you might expect to have that conversation."
But you could also
What
just
do you
go, I don't
think?
want to speak about it.
yeah,
You know
you
what I
could on the other time. But I feel like if I'm going on holiday, I'm not coming to talk about politics.
mean? Definitely don't talk about it.
They would
will
talk
you?
about England politics.
I'm not there to talk about politics. I also expected all the food in the States to be absolute and utter trash, garbage.
What?
There's so
Wow.
many of these words
I
that just
expected
that
it to be
now
good.
just trip me up. Garbage is American, trash is British.
No, it isn't.
Is it?
No,
Yes,
opposite.
I think it is.
American.
Okay,
Both
so I
American, I
expected
think, yeah.
all food in the States
Rubbish
to be
English.
trash.
She's grown up in England. How she
It
forgot
wasn't.
already?
It's confusing. It
No,
is confusing
she's
though,
been.
isn't it? No, but
Rubbish.
I sometimes get it wrong.
Garbage.
But
Do you get garbage and trash? Trash, they're both not English.
no, it's rubbish, isn't it? Definitely
Rubbish and bin.
Yeah.
It wasn't all bad. Maybe that's because I have been following mostly a vegan diet, so I have been avoiding a lot of the like super processed stuff. But the fact of the matter is that trash food is very, very, very
mean
cheap
junk
and
food?
very widely
Yeah.
spread. But in the US, you can also get some of the best food in the world.
Yeah, some
It's
of it
just
looks
that it
gorgeous.
costs a little bit extra. Whole Foods.
But you kind of expect that kind of anywhere, wouldn't you? You pay for what you
Oh.
get, don't you?
You-
Kind of.
Yeah, you go to a
If
restaurant.
you go to a expensive restaurant, you expect decent food.
Definitely, definitely.
I love you. The reality is, what's up? What's up? Intruders? The reality is that the US has the best and the worst food in the world. It's just that the best food comes at a very high price point. I
I'm
feel like
sure
back
it's
I think
home,
it
all
depends
lovely.
what you
people
think
have
of
more
worst food, because
access
I think
to
McDonald's is great.
better quality food for like much lower prices. All right, let's move on to some of my favorites, some of my least favorites, some of my frustrations, some of my struggles. Best drivers and worst drivers in the United States.
Okay.
Is she gonna go by gender? Or is she
My
gonna go by
favorite
state?
places
I don't
in
know.
the US, Montana, Wyoming, and then Central Nevada. not Las Vegas.
Very
Never
open
been there.
places then.
Like the deserts of Nevada. There's so much nature, so much space, so much beauty. Least favorite place in the United States, Yellowstone National Park.
Least?
Granted,
Wow.
I went there like at the height of the tourist season. But man, that place is basically just a massive glorified parking lot. It is like
She's not a
nature
fan.
completely Disneyfied. And you know, okay, it's great. It's probably more widely accessible to a lot more people. But I just feel like it just lost its charm. So
Let us know in the comments on
I
that
might
one.
give it another shot in the
it's,
future. But
bigged up to be more than it actually is in real life.
Maybe, but I feel like she, like with the places she picked, she prefers just natural, open nature, and she doesn't like crowded, touristy places. So maybe that's where the
Personal
opinion's coming
preference.
from. Maybe we'll still enjoy
Whereas
it,
we like to go to places
the
that
touristy
are
place,
yeah.
and it'll still be good for us. But it is personal preference. But
It
let
is.
us know in the comments what you guys think
What do you
of
think of Disney World?
that.
I wasn't wowed. Best drivers in the United States, Washington and Oregon. By and large, very polite. Worst
Okay.
drivers,
California.
Nevada and Montana.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god. And I'm sorry to say, but if you own a Ram pickup truck, you are very much in that category. I can't tell you how many pickup trucks have like passed me while like you're honking and showing me obscene gestures for not going faster. It's like, man, my car is like 17-year-old, 3.5 ton expedition rig. I cannot go faster than 60 miles per hour. Physically impossible. You know, have some respect.
You could just overtake.
Yeah,
Ram
but
pickup
also that would
drivers.
pee me off if someone's going slower than the speed limit in front of me. I'm sorry, you're getting beeped out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're definitely a driver from one of them places,
Yeah,
the
but-
way you are
Yeah,
behind
but-
the wheel.
No, but actually sometimes driving slow is actually more dangerous. So I don't agree with her. Sorry.
Not my favorite
You're a bad
type.
driver.
Here's a few things that I
I'm
found
brutal.
She
frustrating
said they're bad
and
drivers.
nice surprises in the US. So, you know, I walk barefoot a lot of the time and I literally got kicked out of a Starbucks for being barefoot. And there's plenty of restaurants and cafes and shops that have like that really obnoxious no shirt, no shoes, no service sign on the front door. Man, it's like, you
Why would
know,
you not
like
wear your
I'm
shoes
not
in a
hurting
restaurant?
anyone by being barefoot.
Not everyone
So
does wear
that was a bit
shoes.
annoying. And then a lot of places don't allow dogs, which is also a little bit sad because this little munchkin over here, come here, come say hello. This little munchkin over here would like to go to your cafe, and he's a very good boy. He's a very good boy.
Same in the UK in some places, that definitely.
There's definitely places for them and places not for them.
Yeah.
Okay, here are some of the nice surprises that I had when visiting the US. So by and large, I found people in the US to be really, really, really lovely. Very friendly, really polite, you know, very welcoming and hospitable. Another really pleasant surprise, and this was probably my favorite thing about the US, was the sheer diversity of the country. I mean,
There's a lot.
there's
Yeah.
just so much to
Look at
see.
that.
And I could pretty much wild camp in all of these
That's
amazing
nice.
places in my 4x4 rig. I would imagine that if you're in like a giant RVs, what the hell? We don't even have those in Europe. RVs.
You do.
That's definitely
We don't
another
call it that, though.
culture shock. Anyway,
No.
I can imagine that if you're in a giant RV, that wouldn't be the case. But in my little truck, I had access to so many beautiful places, and that was just awesome. So, you know, back home in Europe, people sometimes make fun of Americans, you know, saying that, oh, they're Americans, they're not very cultured, they're not very well traveled. But you know what? I completely get it now.
Why
like,
leave
I
if you have
get it.
everything?
Why most Americans don't even have a
Like,
passport.
If you have all these amazing national parks, all these amazing places that you can go and see, why would you want to leave?
I completely agree. And like I said, but we didn't know that until we started doing these
No.
videos. So I can understand why people say it, but until then you understand
And
why.
like, I'm not being funny, but they're like most of the states are like mini countries.
Pretty
so
much.
why you could go from California to Utah? They're two different states. So why would you want to travel halfway across the world for?
Definitely, I
Yes,
agree.
that's-
Sport because everything is so far away. You know, in Europe, we have this amazing privilege that we can literally hop on a train or hop in the car, and within a few hours, We are in a completely different country with a separate language, a different culture. It is just so diverse and everything is really close together back home. But in the US, everything is so far. Even getting to the next state is a trek and a half. So I am not
Depends where you
surprised
live
that a
in the
lot of
state,
people
I
don't
would
have
argue.
passports in the US, or that they haven't traveled abroad, or that they don't know other languages, because in order to do these things, you have to be quite privileged financially, which back home in Europe is a very different kind of dynamic.
And
So
you
do I
don't
have
need
any
to do it.
regrets?
Yeah, why?
Yes, a couple. First of all, I really wish that I could have stayed longer, but my visa only ran for 6 months, so that's how much time I had, and I just really hope that one day I get to come back and see more of it.
So is she in America now?
Someday soon.
No.
So how did she get the dog there?
Plane? You can take dogs on planes, can't you?
I don't know.
On some planes, you definitely can. I don't know if it went on a plane. Maybe she drove and then got a boat. But it'd take a long time to get there. I don't know.
Another regret that I have is not
Yeah, she had her
having-
car. I assume that was her car. I assume she drove
They
through
took her car, they did just hire her.
to like the closest point and then maybe got the ferry. I
Maybe
guess.
like Ireland or something closest point.
Yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows,
I went for a long time.
let us know.
really engaged with different communities across the United States. So next time I come, I'd love to get more perspectives on what it's actually like to live in the US today. You know, people from all kinds of different backgrounds and ethnicities and cultures and communities. So I really hope that I get to do that next time. So a few closing thoughts. I noticed that throughout my time in the United States, my accent started changing, and it went from this
There
like
you go.
Britishy accent to something more like hybrid American. I'm not sure if I loved that about myself. So I'm just kind of like easing back into my normal way of speaking that is like not influenced by, you know, my context. So yeah. On to the big final question, the most important of them all. Would I live there? I don't know what the handshaking was all for, just to build extra tension. Anyway, would I live in the United States, given everything I have come to learn about this country, given all the places that I've seen? And the answer is very simple. Yes.
Couldn't eat though.
1000% I would live in the United States. To me, the United States is the most beautiful country in the world.
It is beautiful.
It really is.
It is. The only issue
I
for
just
me
love it.
is I'm so safe here.
Yeah,
And I don't, if you could find me a part in America that is as safe as Jersey, I would think about it.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
I just could not go from this to streets of
I
California.
also think there's a difference between saying would I live there and I am there. Because
Yeah,
you have
would you live there?
I
Exactly.
think we could easily live there.
To where would you actually go?
Yeah, definitely. There's a big difference in that.
So much. I completely fell in love. So if you're American and you're single, email marriage@avazuberg.com to send me offers of marriage so that I can move there permanently and build a house in Montana
So
or
she wants
Wyoming
America.
or Nevada. Just kidding. That email address does not exist. So those are some of my impressions of
There you
it.
go.
bet it
that's it. Yeah, just in that.
Bet
hope.
it does.
So I hope someone does it. Smash that button if you enjoyed, guys. Smash the subscribe button as well. That was a good one, wasn't it?
It was different. A few
Different.
things.
We talked loads. Like it's been a while since we paused that much.
Yeah, it's been a long video.
Has been, and we just looked at the time and we can't see it because there was an ad, weren't there?
Yeah.
So we had to restart it. But it's probably super long one, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button like we said at the start as well. We'd really appreciate it. And watch the video,
Have a fantastic day.
and we will see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.